Hi and welcome. I'm Daron Kornbluth from Mosaica Press, and it is my honor to have a few moments speaking with Rabbi Cohen, who is the well-known author of Mastering Life, one of the most famous Mosaica books. Actually, I love the cover of this book with the this thing. It's just incredible. For those who, the two or three people in the Jewish world who have never heard of you, Rav Dovber is one of the most popular speakers in the Jewish world today. He teaches all over the world, well, until Corona, but teaching all over the world. Before Corona, I would go on a speaking tour and I would get to a place and nobody would show up to my talk. I was like, oh yeah, Dovber was here last night.
That's so not true.
So it's a pleasure.
Other way around.
Yeah, it's a pleasure and an honor. And this is really fascinating. For those who haven't read this book, just a personal Mastering Life, a unique guidebook to Jewish enlightenment. It shows your a little bit of your background with 9 countries, 9 lessons in the martial arts background, and beautiful, beautiful teachings. People, let me start like this. We're living in a really strange time, really difficult time for people, and a time when we really feel out of control. Things that were stable 6 months ago are not stable now. I guess they never really were stable, but the idea of mastering life, of getting on top of what we're supposed to be doing, is probably even more relevant now than ever. So any thoughts on the current situation and what we can do in our current situation to improve ourselves in that way?
Yeah, very much. I spoke to a few people, and people have said to me, I can't wait until things get back to normal. And these are people that I know quite well. And I said to them, well, your normal wasn't actually so good. You used to share with me that you didn't love your job and you didn't have that meaningful relationships. But we just get into habitually doing what we're doing and getting comfortable. So I say to them, we can use this opportunity to not go back to normal. When this is all over, if we've just kind of got through it, but we haven't changed as a person, if we haven't grown and transformed ourselves in that way, we've actually wasted an opportunity. Because I guess it might sound a bit cheesy, but every challenge is an opportunity for growth. So this is clearly a very big challenge. And lots of the book is talking about that we can't control our external circumstances, but we can learn to control our reaction to them, how we let that make us feel. And not letting the external world define ourselves or dictate how we feel about ourselves. Even, for example, people get their self-esteem based on what other people think about them and what clothes they're wearing and what their body looks like. So we're kind of being forced to turn inwards more and get our self-esteem from recognizing our own strengths and working on our weaknesses, and to find success in a different way, right? Not success in how much business am I doing and how well my sports team are doing, but success in how much I've improved myself as a person. So I feel lots of people are being forced into this in a way. So obviously it's a horrible, challenging situation. It's an opportunity if we have the right knowledge and the right tools to use it to grow.
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you. For those who have not read the book, you go through your many years of travels in the Far East and your time in Sri Lanka, Thailand, Laos, Korea, India, China, Nepal, Japan, and then finally coming to the land of Israel, with all the different lessons and steps along the way, studies in Buddhism and teaching martial arts, and then coming back to Israel. If you had to summarize the major difference that you see, you're uniquely positioned to comment on it, between the Eastern path towards spirituality and the Jewish path, what do you think the central difference is?
I feel that the central difference is our relationship to this world. In the East, it was very much about, to be spiritual, I have to detach from the physical world. So, for example, I lived in many monasteries with my Buddhist monks, and for them, they don't get married, and they sleep on the floor, and they're not allowed to eat after midday, and they don't touch money. And these were great ideas. I really appreciated those ideas at the time, because I came from a Western world which was very much steeped in physicality. Whereas I appreciated the separating myself from that. However, Judaism says, no, there's actually a higher level, which is to be involved in physicality, but on such a highly conscious level that we can use physicality to be spiritual. So, for example, instead of fasting, when I lived in India, I fasted for 7 days. I had 2 cups of water a day and a few days a small slice of papaya. But Judaism says you don't need to do that. We have some fast days, but it says before you eat something, check that it's kosher and make a blessing before you eat it, and don't eat too much. I think lots of Jews, we need to learn that one a bit better, but it is a Jewish idea that you shouldn't overeat, and then say a blessing afterwards. So we take eating as an opportunity to have a spiritual experience, and that goes for everything. Money, for example, we don't say that you should have no money, and there's nothing wrong with being rich. It's just, what do you use your money for? Do you define yourself by your money? How big of a value is your money? So we say you can have money and you can have physicality, but just do it in a conscious way. And in fact, that's actually a much higher level rather than kind of escaping from it. I remember
Amazing.
sitting in a cave in India, and I was meditating for a while, and I was trying to overcome my ego. And after a while, I realized, you know what, sitting in this cave, trying to overcome my ego whilst there are lots of starving children in the orphanage in town, is a bit egotistical, really. Surely, and Judaism says you shouldn't cut yourself off from the world. You should feed widows and orphans and look after the world. So I came out of the cave, and I realized that the highest level of personal mastery doesn't come from separating yourself from the world and responsibility. When you have a family and you have to pay the rent, and there are people coming for Shabbat dinner, and you then spill the chicken soup on the floor and the kids are crying, to overcome your ego in that situation, that means you're a real master rather than you're sitting in a cave and no one's bothering you. So
that is a beautiful teaching. Thank you very much. Rav Dober, I would love to do this again at some point if you are able to make the time for us. But this has been so nice, and it's so nice to see you. Wish you and your family health and safety in these difficult times. And you should continue to have the great hashpah, the great influence that you're having on Am Yisrael. And thank you very much for your time, and we'll be in touch.
Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you to Mosaica for all your help and support.